Hi, Earth Girls. My name is Deanne, and my mission is to empower you to fall in love with your world. I want you to unearth yourself as you own your story. I interview amazing women who share their vulnerable Earth Girl stories so you know you're not alone, and to inspire you to embrace your imperfections, turn your struggles into your strengths, and become powerfully passionate. Hope is a function of struggle, because there is an Earth Girl in all of us who refuses to live a mediocre life and wants more and better. Today's Earth Girl story, Sophie, aka Surgery to Strong, is incredible. I have no words to appropriately sum up Sophie in a couple of sentences. Strong, resilient, inspirational are a couple of words that come to mind when I think of her. When I first read Sophie's story, I had tears in my eyes. What words would you use to describe Sophie? Let us know after you listen. This Earth Girl story interview will change the way you think about every moment, your body, and how you go about your daily activities. I can't wait for you to be inspired by Sophie's story and empowered by her words to feel good about yourself. Everyone has a story. Earth Girls, join our sisterhood of perfectly imperfect women, because by being imperfect, we are more than perfect. We are powerfully passionate. Don't forget to subscribe because more Earth Girl stories are coming with lots of goodies, and check out the written Earth Girl story on my website, and be sure to connect with us on Instagram with what you thought and share this out to any fellow Earth Girls. Now, without further ado, introducing Sophie's Earth Girl story. Hello, Sophie. Welcome to Earth Girl Stories interviews. I wanted to thank you for hopping on with me. I'm super excited to dive into your story, what you've gone through. You were actually one of the original Earth Girls, because you shared your written story. So I'm so happy to sit down and talk to you in this interview format about everything you've gone through. Can you tell me kind of where you're from, a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm also super excited to be here as well. Thank you so much for reaching out to me and just sharing my story.
Yeah, of course.
I am Sophie. I'm from Vancouver. I lived here for probably the better part of my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I work in a clothing distribution company.
Cool.
And I'm pretty active and enjoy fashion and sports and hiking and my puppy Wiley.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. Where did you?
I'm sure you'll see him.
Yeah, sure. No, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Where did you live in before Vancouver?
I did a stint in Whistler for about 5 years prior to they held the Olympics. And before that, I did a year abroad in England.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I went out west for the first time last year, I think it was. And it was just, everything is like, it's gorgeous. There's no words to describe. Yeah.
Lots of mountains.
Yes.
Views are pretty spectacular, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't imagine just waking up and that being real life, you know?
Lucky, like even right now my place, I'm like right beside the river and I get a view of the mountains, so it's a pretty tranquil area for me to walk my dog and just kind of de-stress every morning. It's really awesome.
Yeah, that's so nice.
Yeah.
So I know kind of the first thing that I noticed about you on Instagram is how we connected, is your super badass scar that you have. Can we kind of can you tell people your story of how that all happened?
Sure, yeah. So I started Surgery to Strong probably while I was still recovering. Just kind of as something for me to do while I was kind of sitting at home and kind of processing everything that I had gone through. Basically my accident they'll class it as a freak accident. So hopefully it will never happen to anyone else.
Sure. Yeah.
I pretty much just went up to Whistler like any other weekend with me and my boyfriend. As I mentioned before, I had previously lived in Whistler, so at the time when we were going on the mountain, I could kind of tell that the mountain was in a poor condition and it probably shouldn't have been open that day. But regardless, we kind of made the trek out there and bought our lift tickets and decided to suck it up and go check it out. So literally my first run of the day, we went to this busy area, and in order to get out of it, I had to take this cat track, and this cat track was filled with people. And as you started going down this cat track, it was filled with rocks and ice and everything else. So I unfortunately hit a large rock, which launched me onto really hard packed snow ice. And then they say upon impact, it split my pancreas into 2 parts. So I didn't know any of that at the time. I just felt like I knocked the wind out of myself. We got patrol to come and help me, and they assessed me. They couldn't find anything wrong. I had no broken ribs, no concussion, nothing. So they said, you know, like, what do you want to do? Keep walking off the mountain, or do you want someone to come down and like give you a toboggan? But that might take an hour and a half. I kind of looked at her, and I wasn't feeling horrible. So I was like, okay, I'll continue walking. So without me knowing, I had a split pancreas, and I walked 4 kilometers to the closest chairlift, went down to Whistler Blackcomb, talked to them at the ticket office, got my money back, complained to them again, asked for ski patrol again, because then I was starting to feel a bit nauseous, and I was feeling wonky. I just knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
They unfortunately were too busy to assess me again. So at that time, me and my boyfriend just decided to go back to my friend's house where we were staying and kind of just relax. And I thought, oh, I'll be fine by lunchtime. Like we'll go eat some lunch and I'll just shrug it off. But that was not the case. As soon as I got back to my friend's house, that's when it started getting pretty severe. I was having extreme pains and was rushed basically to the hospital, in which it took them multiple hours to kind of figure out what was wrong with me. I had about 3 MR scans and 1 CT scan when I was still in Whistler.
Yeah.
And then that's when they realized, like, crap, something's wrong with your pancreas, maybe your spleen, you need to get down to Vancouver emergency ASAP. So they sent my boyfriend down, and they thought they were going to put me in the helicopter. That didn't work out. So then I had to wait for the ambulance and then drive down the ambulance. So
oh my goodness.
I've never heard of the Sea to Sky Highway, but it's like the most beautiful scenic highway. But I was rushed down that on an ambulance.
How long did that take?
It's about an hour and a half drive.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So, but he was probably going a lot faster than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a nice. So
were you in pain and everything all at that point still? And like, what did it feel like?
I knew something, and I extreme amount of pain.
Yeah.
That's probably it. Like
yeah.
How much pain I was in, but I was pretty much that crazy lady in the hospital screaming as loud as you can just to ask someone to like come help me and make it stop.
Wow.
The time I was in the ambulance and being rushed down to emergency, I thankfully was on a fair amount of drugs.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I knew something wasn't right, and I knew this feeling wasn't right, and I feel at that time like I wouldn't say I was dying or anything like that, but I definitely feel like my body was starting to let go of things.
Wow. So what happened, once you got to Vancouver then?
And I got to Vancouver, got put into emergency, had to wait, they had to do more scans to confirm what was going on. That led to the next morning, which I still hadn't eaten anything, or like I couldn't.
Yeah.
All they could give me was these like pink sponges of water. So I was like sucking like lollipops.
Yeah. Oh.
Actually in the hospital with one. Yeah. They were my savior because your mouth's so dry from the drugs and everything, right? But once they came back, they confirmed, okay, something is wrong with your pancreas. We believe it's split into 2 parts. We need to go in and have surgery to remove that floating part now. And I was like, okay, like, do what you got to do. Yeah. They told me my scar was only going to be about this big. Yeah. The side where my pancreas was. So I was like, okay, like I can do this. No big deal. Yeah. Got sent into the trauma unit. They put an epidural in me, and then kind of sent me under. And the last I remember, is just kind of going under, and then finally waking up after apparently, I think my surgery was like 6 to 8 hours long.
Yeah, wow.
Could have been longer, to be honest. I don't have the full details on that because I think my boyfriend and my parents kind of keep a lot of that from me as well.
Interesting, yeah.
But I know I was in there for like a good amount of hours. I came out, and I had pretty much 8 tubes coming out of me. So I felt like an octopus. I had tubes in my neck, tubes in my nose, IVs in both arms. I had 2 tubes coming out of my stomach, the epidural, as I mentioned, something for me to pee out of. Like, it was just insane.
Yeah. Wow.
Wake up to that when I just thought I was going under and like getting this little scar, and I thought I was walking out the next day. Like, I don't know. I never really realized how bad of an accident I was in, or how shape I was in. So to wake up and see that, and then look down underneath my gown and see pretty much a scar from the top of my torso to around my belly button. It was pretty traumatic.
That would be quite shocking to wake up to.
Yeah.
Was that a normal procedure for when you have a split pancreas, or?
Well, that's the funny thing. They were really stumped on how I split my pancreas, because your pancreas is technically almost like in your back.
Yeah.
Far in your digestive system. So they thought that on impact, like, I should have split my stomach or my spleen first, not my pancreas. They were really like blown away. They asked me over and over and over again, what were you doing? How fast were you going? What did you hit? And I was just like, honestly, like, it was just like a normal it's a normal fall to me. So they were stumped. They compared it a lot to people who have like pancreatic cancer. And my surgery was also compared to a lot of girls that have C-sections.
Oh, okay.
So, but for the most part, they said I handled it quite well. And they said that because I was so fit and healthy before my accident, it really played to my advantage when I was going through surgery and then after recovering.
Yeah.
They were pretty shocked with how fast I was recovering. Walked the day after I had my surgery.
Wow.
Shocked my doctors.
Yeah.
I think that's just my mentality. Like, I just didn't really realize everything that was going on. And I just kind of was like, okay, like, I got all these tubes in me, but I feel like I can get up and walk around. So let's do it. Like, why not?
Yeah. You didn't think anything else other than.
Well, I just kind of was just like, I got to do it. Like, I can't just lie here. And like, if I feel like I can walk, like, I might as well, I got to start moving. I got to start doing it, or else. Yeah, I just didn't want to sit there and kind of feel sorry for myself, I guess.
Yeah. What was the recovery like going through all of that?
So I spent 11 days total in the hospital, which pretty much consisted of every day them removing a tube out of me, which is horrible. I wish that upon nobody. And starting to like reprocess food and liquids. So having to teach my body and my digestive system how to process food again. So it was kind of like an ongoing joke with my family on if I could actually like let a fart go, or or, like, it was like a celebratory thing, because literally my whole digestive system, because I got cut open, they had to probably like move things around to get the pancreas, take it out, put me back together, and then hope that everything would work again normally. Knock on wood, like, I'm sitting here today and able to process food no problem. So I'm very lucky that I got it.
So absolutely. So for the average person, what does the pancreas do for someone who doesn't know what?
Sure, I've learned a lot.
I was like, I'm sure you had an anatomy lesson in the process.
Basically, your pancreas is really important when you're growing up. So as an adult, you kind of like, again, knock on wood, I was lucky to hurt my pancreas and not another internal organ, because as an adult, you kind of don't need it as much. You have to, your pancreas is mainly producing hormones. So when you need hormones, mostly is when you're a teenager and stuff, and you're going through all your changes and everything else. That's when it's working its hardest. As an adult, it's still managing your hormones, but it's also helping in your digestive system by secreting enzymes to break down your food, help with amino acids, and obviously your insulin and things like that, which people with diabetes have to watch out for. And now me as well, going for the rest of my life now, they've told me that if I do not continue a healthy lifestyle, then I will get diabetes.
Wow. So
Yeah.
there's nothing like good scare tactics to, keep you healthy for life, right? Yeah. Yeah. Do you still have, you said they took out a part of your pancreas. Do you still have half yeah, so that you still have.
They removed 35% of it, so I'm told. So
Okay.
I have a good chunk of my pancreas.
Yeah.
It's the little tail end that got cut off as well. So I'm kind of, again, knock on wood, that it wasn't my kind of main area of my pancreas, or that would have been a lot worse to kind of go.
Yeah. Wow.
But
you don't need that little.
Sorry,
I was going to say, you don't need that little tail end, do you? Yeah. Yeah. Minor details. Yeah. So how does it still affect you now on it, like other than potentially getting diabetes down the road, but like day to day, how do you feel?
Yeah. It's kind of coming up on 2 years now in December.
Wow.
But saying that, like, yeah, I'm still feeling a lot of things that I thought kind of by now I probably shouldn't be feeling. I'd say anytime I cough, anytime I sneeze, I kind of feel a little pains. Stress is the big one. Stress, they told me when I came out of surgery that you will have to live a proactively de-stressed life going because of your pancreas and how much that does affect it. And I was like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. Like, I probably live a de-stressed life anyway. Like, but as I'm learning and as I'm dealing with this now, like when I get super stressed out, it hurts. It's like almost like heartburn. It's really bizarre. So I really pay attention to my stress levels. I call my stress levels now almost like a glass of water, that every day I'm kind of watching how much I'm doing and how much it's filling up. And if it's getting too much, I got to kind of take a step back and that's why I've kind of really dived into all these mindfulness exercises. And I'm still exercising every day, still going on walks, and just trying my best to kind of get through it. The scar is probably the hardest part to deal with. Unfortunately, I have mine right down the center of my stomach. Yeah. So it is quite painful. I do have to do like daily stretches. Right after the accident, it was horrible. It was really tight, really uncomfortable. And it was just really hard to kind of deal with and like relearn to love my body while I was looking in the mirror every day and seeing this huge like wound down my body. Wow. Yeah, so pretty much stretching still every day, and I still feel a lot of tightness. I try and go to RMT appointments to help. They're helping me try and break up the scar tissue underneath. Yeah. And do things in the back like that to break up the scar tissue, because they're saying that if I do eventually ever want to become pregnant, it's going to probably be a bit painful as my stomach will start growing, because I've learned that scar tissue apparently doesn't stretch like normal skin. So, trying to really work hard on that just to prepare for whatever happens in the future. Yeah. Wow. No, it's amazing that still a year, almost 2 years after, how it affects you still. Yeah. I feel like it will probably be a lifelong thing. Everyone's like, oh, do you feel back to normal? And my new answer is, well, this is my new normal. Yeah. Normal is always relative. So that's a good perspective to have, though, because I mean, you could easily be frustrated that you were never going to be back to what you were before the accident, right? And I think, again, I was just so lucky. I couldn't have asked for a better person to probably have this accident happen to them, because I was such a health nut before. Like, I was trying really hard to eat well. I just finished Kayla Itson's BBG. That's great about my body. And then a month later, I go and have this accident and it all falls apart. But in saying that, if I was someone before that was not into eating healthy, wasn't an active person, it would have been a lot harder of an injury, one, to recover, and two, just to now have this new lifestyle where you have to eat healthy, you have to work out, or else you are going to get more risks in your life later on, which I'm pretty done with this. I don't want anything else. Yeah. Wow. No, easily some people could take that and
give up to a certain degree, but you've gotten right back into things. What was it like going back to exercising and everything after?
I wanted to talk about that because I laugh about myself now when I think back of it. But I got discharged from the hospital after my 11 days, and I still had one tube in me because I had a bunch of enzymes still kind of floating around in my abdomen area.
Mm-hmm.
So they were trying to still like suck those out. So I was walking around with pretty much like this glorified purse. There was like a tube with a suction thing.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to work from home at the time when I was discharged, but I literally was getting up every morning and I'd walk around my house and I'd do little lunges. And I'd sit down in my chair and I'd try and do little squats.
Yeah.
I like this little morning routine just to try and motivate myself to get out of bed.
Yeah.
To make myself feel normal.
Yeah.
Like I to do exercise or something just to be like, okay, I'm still Sophie and I can still do this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
3, I just knew that I had to get my body being active to help it heal.
Yeah.
Like, I truly believe that. And everyone around me was like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing lunges. You shouldn't be straining. But I knew my body and I knew how I felt. And I knew that by doing these small exercises, it was going to go a long way. And it really did. Like I still to this day, I'm so thankful that I pushed myself to start exercising kind of as soon as I could.
Mm-hmm.
Once my tube was finally pulled out of me and I was given the clear and actually able to do like full on exercise, it was 3 months after that tube was removed. So
yeah.
Getting back in the gym was interesting, but I still have a photo on my phone of me on a like elliptical, and I just took a picture of myself because I was so happy just to be on elliptical and doing. And I just like was like, oh, I'm such a crazy person that was a happy state. But
well, everyone else in the gym was probably like, she's just on an elliptical, it's no big deal. But for you, who had gone through so much in the past 3 months, I mean, of course, it's such a milestone.
We had a regular kind of older gentleman who would always be in the gym with me prior to my accident, and it took me about 3 months to get back into the gym. And he was like, oh, like, where have you been? Like, I thought you moved and stuff. And I was like, oh, well, actually, I've had this huge accident. And he was just like, what? Like, what are you doing here? Like, oh my God, you were amazing. So it made me laugh. But it took a while. Like, I'm not going to lie. I definitely eased myself back into exercising. I did lots and lots of walking. And then just kind of, again, listen to your body. I really was paying attention to what was hurting me, what wasn't hurting me, what I could kind of push myself into doing and what I couldn't. I wasn't jumping around and doing like crazy circuits right away, but I was making my own routines and kind of pushing myself each week, going a little bit further, a little bit harder. And finally to the point where now I feel like I'm pretty fit. My state of fitness. So, but it's taken me probably, I'd say, like a good 2 years to get to where I am.
I'd say so. I mean, I've had surgeries, some of them not even nearly as big of a scar as yours. And
doesn't matter.
It's crazy how your body changes going through that. And you think you're fine, a month or 2 months later, and then it's not, you know what I mean? It's your body's still healing. It's still recovering. So
I forget that I have like, honestly, like, and I'll be like, oh, like, why does my stomach hurt today? I'm like, oh yeah, Sophie, like you did abs today and you have a scar in your stomach. You should probably go stretch it out some more. So it's funny how I'm conscious about it, but then I'm like not conscious about it at the same time.
It's funny. It's a good balance at the same time. What has it been like learning to have a scar and like to have a scar there in the first place?
It's hard. Just because I think it was just so random. Like it wasn't like something that I could prepare for. Like I feel I'm a bit envious of other girls or people who have like an illness and they're kind of like, okay, you're going to go in on Tuesday and you're going to have this surgery and then you're going to come out and you're going to maybe look different. Like in my case, it was like every single second, I just did not know what was going on, to the point where like he was like, you're going into surgery, and like I said, I came out with a totally different scar than I anticipated. So learning to love the scar is an interesting thing, but I'm trying really hard. I have a good support system. I have a boyfriend that tells me I'm gorgeous pretty much every day. Things like that help. Again, mindfulness stuff help. And just kind of, learning to embrace this new self is, it's an ongoing life lesson, I believe. I mean, girls, no matter what, are self-conscious to begin with. So then you throw a scar on your body that's quite predominant. Going around, walking around in a bikini for the first time was a bit awkward, I'm not going to lie. You're always kind of looking at people and wondering what they're wondering. Like, are they looking at you being like, ooh, what happened to that girl or something? And it's those kind of things that I'm having to like learn to deal with now. And like, I'm a bit different, and it's okay if people look at me that I'm a bit different. And just to kind of keep my head up and keep my confidence high, and just continue to embrace that this is the new me, and this is me. I can't change it, so I gotta learn to love with it.
And I think like what you said applies to for so many women, not even if like, especially if you have a scar, but just in terms of anyone and for their body, right?
Totally.
I mean, it's and by you still wearing a bikini and showing your stomach, it teaches people to be okay with themselves in that way. Because if you were to hide it and not let people know, like if I just look at you now, I would have no idea of anything that you've gone through, right? But by showing that you've gone through something, that it's okay, that you can still wear these things and be comfortable in your own skin, it's like that's what other people need to see.
That's a big thing for me. I think maybe because I'm in the clothing industry and fashion, a big passion of mine, but I was pretty adamant with myself that I wasn't going to change myself in terms of like what I wanted to wear and things like that. Like I remember going out kind of after I had my surgery, and I wore a crop top and like a little skirt. Mom was like, oh, like I'm so proud of you that you're wearing your crop top and all this stuff. And it's okay, like that's awesome that you're proud of me for doing it, but at the end of the day, like this is still me. I'm still Sophie, and I'm gonna wear the crop tops if I want to wear the crop tops. And like you said, like I hope people do see it, and I hope they kind of maybe take a second to kind of be like, okay, like who is that girl? She's awesome. She's rocking what she's got, and I hope, at least they're inspired by it maybe a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Because I used to, before I had all the, like, I had 2 scars from when I was a baby. And then I was always embarrassed about my stomach. Growing up, like I never showed anyone, nothing. And then until I had my next set of surgeries, the 3 surgeries, and that's when I got like an up down that was kind of unavoidable to see. And then it was a turning point for me to embrace it. And it was kind of like, I had these before. I lived my whole life being ashamed of this. I used to look at other women often that were wearing certain clothes and not having a perfect body, and being not jealous, but like admiring them for still being comfortable in that night. Like I never had that. So to see people, it shows others that you can be okay in your body, right? And you should be. I mean, you're only young once. You can only wear a crop top like at a certain point in your life. So you might as well do it now.
Exactly. I had a lot of girls kind of reach out to me and tell me how great it is that I am like wearing my bikini, or that they do like that I kind of have stayed true to myself. And I love that. I love hearing that, because it does kind of, I feel like, okay, like I'm doing something right then. And
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. Do you feel like you've changed because of everything because of your accident and what you've gone through? I know you say you kind of want to be the same Sophie, but
I think I realized that I'm a lot stronger than I ever thought I was, physically and mentally. Like I was always terrified, like to have a baby and things like that. But now I've had this, I'm like, oh, having a baby is going to be a walk in the park. So, realizing that how much I can overcome within myself was a huge learning experience, and I'm really happy I kind of have that now in my back pocket. to kind of know that like, yeah, I can kind of do whatever I want. I can conquer anything now.
Yeah. You have such strength because of what you've been through. It's like any workout is not a big deal because after what you've gone through, like that, it is a pregnancy walk in the park, like workout walk in the park.
I'm hoping to get into teaching some group fitness classes. So I'm hoping to inspire ladies in that sense that like they'll hear my story and they'll be like, holy cow, if Sophie can go work out, then I can do. So I gotta go jump around and do stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like you've become even more passionate about working out and being healthy and everything since your surgery.
Definitely. I think again, I'm kind of forced to, but I think I've definitely embraced it a lot more, and the community as well. I think the fitness community is a really awesome, positive community. I like how girls inspire each other. I like how girls comment on each other's videos and everything and tell them how amazing they are, and I feel it's a really positive place for young girls especially to go to, and that's kind of my main push more so now and after I have my scar, because again it is all about how you feel, and I feel I myself, and like you mentioned, a lot of women grow up not feeling the greatest about themselves. They don't love, like, and they have no confidence, and I think fitness can bring you a lot of that. It can help you with a lot of your depression. It can give you confidence because you're going to feel good about yourself on the inside, but also on the outside. And I just think the community, again, is a huge, awesome space for young girls to really get into.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because sometimes people in your kind of everyday life don't always do the same things that you do, but then you can use this community to find people that are like you and support you going through it. So
that's been an awesome thing as well for me, because obviously since my accident, I've kind of, I wouldn't say lost friends, but definitely certain groups of friends I have been associating with less just because of things like drinking and partying and socializing and going out and eating certain foods. Like I can't really physically do those things or I'm trying really hard not to. So then by closing off kind of those relationships, I've now opened up new relationships with other girls with like-minded interests that like to go on hikes and like to do my BBG workouts and things like that. So it's been really nice kind of meeting new like-minded women that want to go and, like yourself, want to go pursue fun things and do projects like this, which I think are super empowering for women.
Yeah. No, it is. And the world's so big now, but it becomes so much smaller through these things that it helps.
Yeah. Awesome.
If you were to tell yourself something before going through all of it, like before you had that accident, the day before or whatever, or in the ambulance or something like that, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah. Survive the next day.
One thing I kept saying to myself, and I might even get it tattooed on me, was just, it was like my mantra, but it was just be strong, be strong, be strong, be strong. And I just kept telling myself through everything, like no matter what, if I was in Whistler and I was screaming and going through pain, if I was getting pulled out of me, or if I'm here now having like scar pain while I stretch and stuff like that, I'm still using the be strong, be strong, be strong. And I think it's just you in your mind, you can be so strong. And so knowing your mental state, I think is the biggest part, and how strong all of our brains can be when we're in the most awkward, horrible situations.
Yeah. So it sounds like you mean strong as in not necessarily just physically, but...
Oh, I'd say mental strength.
Yeah, yeah. What kind of mindfulness practices and everything you do now?
I'm dabbling in a little bit of meditation. It's a hard one though, to try and force yourself to sit down for 10 to 20 minutes and check out. But I'm trying to do that at least weekly, if not every other day. But my main ones that I kind of do on a daily basis are things like counting. Count all the time. And it sounds funny, but literally I count to 10 times. So I'll do that on walks in the morning. I'll do it when I'm at work and I'm getting stressed out. I'll go take a moment for myself. kind of anytime I need it, I'll start counting. That's a big one.
How did you start doing that?
Um,
Is there like, did you read about it? Did you just?
I did counseling after my accident, because I have been diagnosed with PTSD, which is kind of what like soldiers and things get when they come back from war, or people who have had traumatic accidents like myself are kind of prone to it. So just learning to deal with that aspect of it as well has been quite interesting. I kind of never anticipated a mental illness after such an accident, but if I really think about it, it kind of goes hand in hand. It was quite a traumatic accident, so therefore now my mental state is trying to process all that. So in my counseling, they kind of gave me all these little tips, and I've really embraced them and taken them on. I didn't want to go the pill route, which they were trying to push on me. So yeah, I've just kind of, instead of going on the pills, I've just said, no, I'm going to focus on myself, focus on my health and fitness, and now focus on my mindfulness exercises. So another one that I like to do a lot is coloring is great. I think coloring books are awesome. And it sounds literally, it's again forcing you to just check out of what you're doing, sit down and color some pretty colors and just let your mind go. Observing is another great one. So say if you're just going for a walk, sit down and take 5 minutes and like count how many things are red around you, things like that. And it's all these tricks that are pretty much just tricking your brain into not thinking all this crazy stuff that you're thinking, and to stop that, take a second, process it, and then kind of go on with your day.
Yeah. Wow. I feel like a lot of people can start incorporating that into their life.
That's my goal. Yes. It's really hard to, again, with my group fitness thing, if I go and start teaching classes, I'm wanting to include mindfulness exercises as a part of that, because I really believe they go hand in hand. I think you need a strong mental state, one, to start working and continue in a routine, because it's not the easiest thing. We all know waking up every morning and going to the gym, not a fun task. But I feel like if you're in a good mental state, you'll just get up and go do it. But just normal day-to-day life, like I feel everyone has stresses, and again, I call my stress the watering glass, where I fill it up each day. But if you really think about your day and how it starts, you're waking up to an alarm, getting on maybe public transit to go to work, you're going into work, maybe you're late, and then you get to work and you're bombarded with emails or phone or whatever else you're doing, and it's starting to fill up that glass. And you knew before you had what you consider a stress, you've already accumulated so much stress. So that's what I really become aware of, and realizing that all these little tricks that you can just do them in between your day. By the time you get home, you're going to be okay. You're not going to be this crazy, like overwhelmed person, get home, I got to make dinner, and oh God, I can't do all this stuff. Instead of saying, okay, like, that's the next task I got to do. And, oh, I'm a little stressed out. Okay, go count a little bit. Okay, back to it. No big deal. So my big push after I finally get certified, I think, I'm really going to try and get into more mindfulness activities.
Yeah. I was going to ask, what's in store for Sophie coming up?
I feel like
do you have dreams or like things that you, because
I mean, my mind is always going, and I feel like I have a bit of an entrepreneur kind of mind, but money is the hardest part right now for us. We're just kind of financially with a lot of burdens. We've had a crazy couple years, and Vancouver is not cheap. So once all that's kind of sorted, I hope to get my group fitness certificate. In turn, I hope to teach classes, and like I said, potentially lead into like a workshop kind of thing, where I'm hoping to do kind of a mind, body, and soul workshop, where you would come, do some mindfulness exercises, get your workout in, and then maybe have some healthy snacks after.
Nice.
That. I also do a local book drive. While I was in the hospital, I found out you do not get internet for free. So spending 2 weeks sitting in a bed gets boring very quickly. They actually have these little library carts that they push around, and they'll go and talk to you in each room. But what I noticed on these library cards is that these magazines were extremely outdated, extremely in poor condition.
Mm-hmm.
So it got me thinking that in my industry, we so freely get magazines like snowboard, skateboard magazines, like an abundance of them, and we just throw them out like no big deal. So I that's where it really started for me. I was like, okay, one, I'm going to take all those magazines that we're throwing out and I'm going to donate them to the hospital. And then that kind of got my parents involved, and then my work got involved. So now I pretty much do a proper magazine and book drive twice a year. And I go to the VGH hospital and I donate all the books and magazines.
Wow.
But I believe this is something that everyone can do everywhere. I believe the majority of the donations are all like contributed by people, with money in it. So reach out to your local hospital and see what you can donate.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, because I mean, I have books and stuff at home or magazines I'm not reading anymore. Rather than just throwing them out, totally, I'm going to bring them to the hospital, and I encourage everyone to do the same.
I agree. It's an awesome feeling too, just to even donate something so silly like that, but it goes a long way. And when you're in the hospital, and I would have been so stoked to see like a snowboard magazine.
Yeah.
Just to like, again, make you feel normal. Like you can just pick up something and just read and kind of forget where you are.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. What are you most grateful about today or in your life now?
I think just being here. Like really, it was an accident that could have taken my life. If I wouldn't have gone to the hospital that night, they tell me I definitely would have passed away.
Wow.
So every day I now just realize to live in the now, be here, be present. And I'm just happy to be here. I really am. I'm trying to love life and all that, the ups and downs of it, but you just gotta embrace that all too, and kind of realize that's life. And just be happy that you are here to live it, because we only get one chance.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so easy to get caught up in the daily humdrum and stress, and you have to go to work and you go home and you take care, and there's things and bills to pay, and then you realize life goes so fast. And then it's gone before you even realize that. I mean, even in those little moments, to make the most of things and to appreciate what you have when you have it is, and it takes, sometimes, unfortunately, it takes an accident or some health scares sometimes for people to realize. And that's something I wish wasn't the case, is that if we could all just try and make the most of everything, it would, change everything.
I agree. Like, I feel like a lot of people really need to try harder to be more positive and just not sweat the small stuff, because the small stuff doesn't matter at the end of the day. Like, we were all here, and we just gotta go with the flow and just learn to love this crazy life that we're all on.
This crazy little blue and green earth that we're all on. It's When are you happiest now?
When am I what, sorry?
When are you happiest?
Am I happiest? My puppy brings me lots of joy.
Yes.
So we got him pretty much like 6 months after my accident. Maybe. And the funny thing is he had a surgery right before we got him. He has a little scar on his tummy too.
Aww.
Like it was meant to be. But getting up in the morning and seeing him always brings me joy. Going for walks in the morning is awesome and always puts a smile on my face. Working out makes me happy. It's funny that sounds, but it does. And I think people at work think I'm crazy, but I even try and get girls at work to work out with me in the afternoon and everything else, but that's a big one.
Yeah.
Food is like amazing. Warm soul, right? I'm lucky I have a great boyfriend that does some awesome cooking.
Nice. Yeah.
But I think just kind of being here again and just knowing that I'm on this earth still is a big thing that keeps me happy.
Can you name, do you have one woman who's inspired you in your life?
Ooh, that's hard.
Everyone's always stumped by this question, and they're like, ooh,
like Kayla, who does the BBG things, has been a good inspiration in terms building a great community that I fell into prior to even my accident. So I think I really held on and latched on to that community, which she even featured me, and that blew me away. So yeah, getting to maybe meet her one day would be pretty cool. I think she's a girl who's got a good head on her shoulders and is, again, giving a good positive vibe to young women out there. But mainly, I think I'm just inspired by all the women all around me, and the women that I've really met since my Surgery to Strong Instagram account has started. Women like yourself. I've met other girls overseas that also have similar pancreatic accidents, and seen what they're doing and how much younger they are compared to me, and how they're still going through their life and going to college. And I'm really inspired, just by all the women that I've learned to, or not learned, all the women that I've started following me, and vice versa, I've started following them. To see and learn.
Yeah. What's your definition of perfectly imperfect?
Ooh, good one. Perfectly imperfect. I think we're all perfectly imperfect, to be honest.
I agree.
I think the words itself kind of sum it up, to be honest. And it's just, again, embracing all your imperfections as not imperfections. They're just you. That's who you are. So just learn to love what you got. If you got big boobs, you got no hair, you got a scar on your body, who cares, right? Like, that's you. Love yourself, love your imperfections, because that's all you can do. This is the one chance you get to live your life in this body, so you might as well love it.
Absolutely. So many women hate their body, and it hurts me. And I haven't been perfect. I'm guilty of that as well. But, you might as well learn to love it and enjoy that. Because if you hate your body throughout your whole life, you're missing out on so many things just because you care about how you look. When you can do so much more than, you're more than just a body, right? So, what's your definition of powerfully passionate?
Powerfully passionate. I think passion is a hard thing to get. I think people have to find what they're passionate about. So that's a hard.
Well, I guess, you're clearly passionate about a lot of things in your life, right?
Definitely. But finding the passions has been a struggle, I think. It's kind of, again, going through what I went through, realizing that you only get that one life, in turn being like, hey, I need to start loving things too, around me. I need to be passionate about myself. I need to be passionate about my fitness. I need to be passionate about things that are truly beneficial to me, because if not, no one's going to be passionate for you. No one's going to do those things that you want to do for you. So if you're not giving them your all and putting all that passion into it, then what's the point, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you want women to take away from your story and what you've gone through?
Just love yourself.
Yeah.
No matter what. And know that we are all strong. I really think women are an amazing human species. The stuff we go through, and even just dealing with cramps once a month, it's insane. The amount of pain that we can kind of tolerate, and mentally and physically. So embrace the strongness that we all have within us, and in turn use that as confidence to love yourself.
How do you know that you're not alone going through all of these things?
Oh, that's a hard one, because you definitely do get sucked into feeling like you're alone. Without my Instagram account, I probably would have felt like I was the only person in this whole world that had this happen to me.
Yeah.
Luckily enough, by starting that account and connecting with other women, I realized I'm not alone. There's lots of other girls out there with lots of crazy scars, and it's great to see them all. And I love it. I wish we could all meet somewhere one day and like give each other a big hug and just be like, okay, that we have these things and that but we're all amazing and awesome.
Yeah.
So that, I wish that's my goal one day. Yeah. Like a scars reunited.
That would be amazing. Yeah. Yeah. It would be a big reunion, I think, because so many people have scars. But like the fact that we don't know exactly how many people do. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. I'd go. Don't worry. I'd be there. I'd be the first one to attend. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd love it.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have one piece of advice that you would give to Earth Girls or anyone who's been through struggles or have moments that they don't know what to do or anything like that?
One, you're not alone, like we just said. Yeah, that's a big one. So if you're feeling like that, reach out to someone, if anyone. And if it's a random girl across the world, reach out to her, because at the end of the day, you're not alone. We're all dealing with things and we're all gonna be processing things in a different way, but you might learn from each other. And yeah, just to kind of make sure you are, I guess, doing your best. Oh, I don't know how to.
It's hard to express things always appropriately, right?
I guess, yeah, I just kind of want to say that, like, it's just so important to, stay on top of your emotions, realize that they are just emotions. I'm a big believer that there's other things at play too, like energy and things like that. But at the end of the day, you are you, everyone else is everyone else. If you are feeling alone, you're not alone. You're in a world of millions of other people. And I'm sure there's one girl out there that will understand completely what you're going through. So put yourself out there and see what comes back.
Yeah, you'd be amazed at some.
And I wouldn't have been, like, I truly believe that without my Instagram account, I would be probably a different Sophie at this point in my life.
Wow. That's saying something, because I couldn't imagine you not how you are now, but obviously there's things along the way that.
Without Surgery to Strong, I really think I would have kind of just gone the whole other way. I would have probably been really depressed. I probably would have felt really alone. I wouldn't have known how to process things. I don't even know if I would have continued working out and things like that, just because it was such a horrible accident and such a horrible mental state to kind of get into. It's still to this day, like, I'm not gonna lie, everyone has their moments. I have bad days. I'm not perfect. I have days that I cry. I have days that I have flashbacks of what I went through. And that's fun to process, but you got to do it. And it's just, again, realizing that I wasn't alone in that. Thousands of other girls with issues and a bunch of other girls with scars that, like, were all reaching out to me. It just blew me away and just kind of flipped my whole perspective. Like, I could make two choices. I could have gone and woken up and been in a crappy mood and depressed the whole rest of my life, or I could have woken up and been like, okay, this is what I got to do. This is the new Sophie for the world.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you chose to go down that path and you started Surgery to Strong. Yeah. Now, for women who want to get in touch with you or figure out what you're all about, what's the best way to find you online, or where do you hang out?
Yeah, for sure. I'm on Instagram. So surgery_to_strong is my account. Facebook, you can find me, Sophie Gillett. I'm actually trying to sell a bunch of old clothes right now. My New Year's resolution this year is to try and only buy 80% of reused clothing items.
That's awesome.
Fashion industry, I realize how horrible it is for the environment.
Yeah.
So I might sell all my best stuff and then in turn buy only reused items.
Wow.
Wasn't hell.
Yeah.
If you want to check me out on Facebook and check out any of my stuff, let me know.
Awesome.
Or just email Sophie_Gillett@hotmail.com. I'll gladly answer anyone that wants to write me.
Excellent. And I'll get all the info and upload it so everyone can see that for ways to get in touch with you.
Awesome.
In terms of wrapping up, I want to thank you, Sophie, because you're, I think, one of the first women that I got in touch with that I was like, wow, I think her scar beats mine, was like what the first thing was that I thought when I saw you. And I had no idea that you could split your pancreas in
Yeah.
two. But I saw you and I couldn't, what I found remarkable is the fact that you did start your fitness and health and everything before your accident. And then you were so grateful that you did, but you didn't give that up.
Yeah.
That you kept pushing through, that you stayed persistent, that you embraced and you always said that not that every day was perfect, but that you kind of transformed yourself to incorporate some of the other mindfulness and wellness aspects that can relate to so many other women out there. So I think, yeah, you are very powerful. Because of what you've been through, and not only because of that, but just with how alive you've been, yeah, and how much you're going to do with your life. So I know. So I wanted to say thank you and acknowledge you, and thank you for taking the time out of everyone's busy day to share with us what your story is. And
Sure,
I'm so excited for, all Earth Girls to get in touch with you and to hear your story, so they know that they're not alone.
Hear from you. I love it.
Yeah.
Stories. Great.
Excellent. No, well, thank you so much, Sophie. Yeah, and we'll talk soon. Sophie, I love you. Thank you so much for sharing your story, being vulnerable, and embracing your flaws. You're such an inspiration. Earth Girls, what do you think? Do you have any scars? How do you go about handling everything thrown at you every day? Let us know through Instagram. Here are our usernames. We are here for you and we want to hear from you. Until next time, don't forget to subscribe. There are some exciting announcements and offers to come. We are in this together, ladies. You are not alone. These stories are here to empower you to unearth yourself so you live powerfully passionate. Fall in love with your core, fall in love with yourself, and fall in love with your world. Brave love, brave life.